Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about Darth Vader completely destroying Crimson Dawn. But before we begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. Once the Executor arrived at the planet, Vader intended to handle the situation on his own. He ordered Piet to prepare his Lambda-class shuttle and landed at the seemingly deserted site with the two stormtroopers. In the vicinity of the artifact, where you could not single out the presence of the supposed ancient Sith, Vader sensed a great deal of dark side power coming from the Fermata cage. Vader discovered the Archivist and Kofon Ferris trying to hide beneath the remains of their machine. In Vader's presence, the Archivist found that the Sith Lord irradiated dark energy, while Ferris, having been warned of Vader by their rival Dr. Aphra, quickly surrendered. The Archivist refused, to which Vader began to choke the agents with the Force. However, he was interrupted by the arrival of Chanith Cha and her orphans, consisting of Seer, Lady Bright, and Imara Vex. When Cha asked Vader if he remembered her, Vader simply stated that he would kill her as he bared his lightsaber. Cha went on to introduce herself, explaining that Vader had slaughtered her family, and that she had spent every day since plotting her revenge. Vader quickly forgot her name once more before the orphans attacked. After being electrocuted by Lady Bright and burned by one of Cha's acid bombs, Vader pushed the orphans back and walked into the ocean to recover. Once he did, he returned to the shore and saw Lady Bright, Vex, Ferris, and the Archivist fleeing for the Sirodo. When Vader mentioned Kira's death to Cha and Seer, he sensed their confusion and lack of fear, indicating that Kira was still alive. As he fought Cha and Seer, he chastised them for arrogance and prepared to strike Cha down, only for Vex to snipe off one of his hands, prompting him to tip over the Sirodo with the Force and throw Vex into the forest. With Vex severely injured, Lady Bright, Ferris, and the Archivist fled in the Sirodo before returning to assist Cha and Seer. However, the Sirodo then turned back around and left the planet, much to Cha's relief. With Seer and Vex defeated, Vader twisted Cha's introduction of herself by reintroducing himself and stabbing her through the chest. With Cha dead, Vader left the planet to find Kira, and reunited with his master. Both traveled a dark, smoky location, where Sidious asked Vader if he actually felt the presence of an ancient Sith Lord in the cage. With Vader admitting he only felt intense dark side power from it, he engaged Sidious in a sparring duel. The first they had engaged in some time, at his master's request, allowing Sidious to explain how he would enforce the rule of two if another Sith Lord indeed existed. After Sidious pushed back Vader with a final strike and declared the duel over, Vader made one last rush at his master before stopping when his master repeated himself. Feeling they had no choice but to follow the ripple in the Force caused by the next cage opening, Sidious took the moment to admit Kira would be missed as he and Vader looked across the location. Kira attempted to shore up her chances by reaching out to the Knights of Ren, reminding them that they had attacked Vader's fortress, and thus they would be hunted by the Sith if they did not help her destroy Vader and Palpatine. Around the same time, the Spark Eternal artificial intelligence, created thousands of years prior for use against the Sith by the Ascendant cult, resolved to hunt down Vader. The AI had taken over Dr. Aphra's body to carry out its mission, further collecting 000 and BT-1 to help in its quest. When Aphra used a virus she had installed into the two droids to regain control of her body, the Spark introduced, much to Aphra's horror, their Sith hunting mission against Vader. By possessing Aphra, it had access to her memories of Vader, and saw how she considered the Sith Lord a monster. But the AI believed itself ready to take on the Sith Lord and his master. Because Aphra had once outmaneuvered Vader, the overconfident Spark thought itself skilled enough to engage him in one-on-one combat. In fact, contacted was made from Kira, the Spark, to request its help in destroying the Sith. "You wish to board the station, Lord Vader. I sense your desire, to possibly meet an ancient Sith, one so dangerous they were locked away in such a powerful prison as the Fermata cage, to feel their power, to test yourself against it, and then to destroy them, or even to be destroyed. I desire it too, Lord Vader, but it is a foolish desire, and I am not a fool," to quote Darth Sidious to Darth Vader. The Archivist moved through the Fermata cage, and the equipment needed to finally open it to an ancient Axamane space station in the Outer Rim, where the cage could feed off the planet life and dark side energy left behind by the ancient Drengar beings. Sensing the disturbance in the Force caused by the opening of the cage, Sidious and Vader, just as Sidious said they would need to in the name of enforcing the rule of two, followed the disturbance aboard the Executor, with a fleet of Star Destroyers at their back. The Sith Lords and their forces reached the station shortly after the opening process. Overlooking the station from the Executor's bridge, Vader found himself with overwhelming desire to board the station and meet the possible Sith, hoping to test himself against the Sith Lord's power no matter if he survived the encounter. Able to sense his apprentice's wish, Sidious felt the same, but declared it foolish and a desire that was dumb enough to order the Executor to destroy the station. Before the Executor could fire, the warship's crew detected an entire fleet emerging from hyperspace. While Vader initially assumed it was the Rebel Alliance, the Force was Kira's secret Dawn fleet, which targeted the Executor's long-range weapons, thereby forcing the Executor to divert power to its shield batteries and delay the Emperor's order to destroy the station. With his master unwilling to take any chances, Vader boarded a Lambda-class T-4A shuttle with Sidious and an escort of Death Troopers and Emperor's Royal Guards, flying through the space battle under the escort of Crimson TIE interceptors. As their troops engaged with Dawn soldiers who had set up a perimeter in the hangar, Sidious and Vader disembarked from their shuttle into the station, which was filled with dark side energy that Sidious could tell was not all related to the Fermata cage. Unsure of what they would find, the two Sith Lords led the charge, with the mission to totally destroy the Dawn. Leading from the front, Vader and Sidious fought their way through the station. As the two Sith could deflect blaster bolts with their lightsabers, Dawn Squads 2 and 3 attempted to engage Sidious and Vader with the electrified melee weapons, but both Sith effortlessly fought through the guards. Still, Vader toyed with one soldier until Sidious ordered him to stop and simply killed him. As they journeyed closer to the cage, they were confronted by the Spark Eternal possessed Aphra, who mocked the two Sith. Vader quickly deduced that Aphra was under some kind of possession and stayed behind to deal with her while Sidious carried on. Believing she could weaken him, the overconfident Spark engaged Vader with the Cortosis alloy-based Null Blade, which would temporarily shut down lightsabers. To the Spark, the battle represented a chance to finally fulfill the dream of its long-dead creator, Miro, by destroying the Sith Order, even if the battle proved too much for Aphra's body. The blades of Vader and the possessed Aphra clashed several times, thereby shorting out the Sith Lord's lightsaber. While the Spark at the moment thought it was ready to destroy Vader and jumped at him, Vader effortlessly exorcised the Spark from Aphra's body with a Force push. As a group of new arrivals watched, Aphra's former lover, Sana Starros, had gathered a crew of Aphra's friends and loved ones to rescue her from the Spark. Having abandoned the Dawn in fear of their run-in with Vader, Ferris was also among the group. Unknown to Vader, who declared the Spark to be a weak enemy, he had effectively ended the dream of the Ascendant cult by defeating its main weapon without much effort. After a terrified Aphra awoke under Vader and escaped as the opening cage sent out a ripple, Vader elected to return to his master's side rather than hunt down his former ally. With Vader out of sight, the Spark attempted to possess Aphra once more, but the intervention of Ferris, Starros, and another one of Aphra's ex-lovers, Magna Tolvin, saved her. Vader took his place at an eager Sidious's side as the cage finally opened. However, only a small disc without any connection to the Force fell out. Inside, there had been no secret Sith Lord after all, and Sidious believed the disc was nothing important. Unknown to both, the disc was actually a droid locked away by the ancient Sith. Watching from afar aboard each of their starships, the Archivist and Kira remotely reactivated the cage, encasing Vader and Sidious in a one-time lock. Kira intended to recover the cage with the two Sith Lords trapped inside, and throw their prison into a star. However, it was at that moment that the cannon shots from beyond the space battle suddenly broke into the station and destroyed the cage. While it remained physically together, the cage's time lock collapsed, freeing the two Sith from its grasp, but sending a force wave out across the galaxy. The cannon shots had come from the Night Buzzard, the personal transport of the Knights of Ren. Although Ren had watched Vader and Sidious fall victim to Kira's plan from a distance, he believed Sidious would ultimately find his way out of the cage. and thus believed that the only way to save his crew was to align themselves with the Sith. They sent out by the collapse of the cage wiped out much of the Dawn fleet, giving the Imperials a chance to wipe out the Dawn forces, as the escaping Kira gave the retreat order. As they collected the destroyed but intact Fermata cage, Sidious and Vader sensed a great rending in the Force sent out by its collapse, with Sidious admitting it made his grasp on the Force tenuous. Sidious and Vader then came face to face with the Knights of Ren, revealed themselves in return for mercy. Sidious, however, responded with a blast of Force lightning to push the Knights, promising that whatever was left in the group would be put to excellent use. Still, Sidious declared the Knights' future a small matter and ordered Vader to depart with him. In the aftermath of the Crimson Dawn War, the Syndicate was shattered while the defeated Kira fled into hiding. The effects of the Force wave varied at different times. Force sensitives could find themselves with a limited connection to the Force at one time, but could wield great power when the wave returned. Vader came to fear that the great energy provided by the Force wave was something insane because he could not control it. So what did you guys think of Darth Vader destroying Crimson Dawn? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.